So yeah, my name's John Sullivan. I'm based out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I work for Outsystems, who's a low-code platform out there, and just wanted to tell you a little bit more about low-code in general and maybe the Outsystems platform. Not everyone's familiar with how it works, what challenges there are, what successes customers have had with low-code. So that's what I want to kind of introduce you to a little bit more today. And first, I'll start out with just why development is so hard for every organization. Apps need to work flawlessly. There's complex applications out there, as you all know, and have experienced. They need to be secure, scalable, highly performant. And there's a lot of time spent with expensive tools and expensive people to ensure the software that you build is ready for business critical use. Those people that need to control that software, there's definitely a talent shortage to be able to serve all the organization's needs of these complex applications. And what that builds you into is a really harmful backlog of explosive backlog of apps that you need to keep up to meet market demand. And so we actually surveyed hundreds of your peers out there in the world of different size companies to understand the top tech challenges that they have. And we have this report at stoptechdebt.com if you want to visit that. It's really insightful, and I'm sure you can relate in that some of the top challenges out there are there's development languages and frameworks. I used to be a developer myself for 8 years, and you're always wondering where best to spend your time. Do you learn the next new language that's coming out so you can take advantage of that? They're coming out every year. Do you spend time mastering an old language? And then that talent that you have turns over in the development team too. So, people that know certain languages and frameworks and whatnot, or just business secrets, or the way that you operate internally, those can leave out the door and add to that talent shortage. And because of all that, you might have known defects or bugs or just use cases that you speed through to get things to market. So there's a ton of these things that software development organizations are facing today, and they're usually too busy to kind of think about it. And so that's where low code kind of comes into play, and that's what Outsystems can definitely help with. Gartner even says that low code is going to be affecting 65% of all software development by 2024 as well. And we're definitely on track for that. It's seen an explosive growth in the low code market. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the market because not all low code platforms are built the same. But the typical low code approach, or a powerful platform like Outsystems, I would say, looking at the CEO and CTO agenda of an organization, you want to have an amazing customer experience, modern architecture, top tech talent. But low code platforms can bring this to you no matter what size company you are, because you can use the skills that you have. So senior developers can feel comfortable on the platform because it follows traditional programming paradigms and for loops and functions and methods and whatnot, scalable microservices, which we'll talk deeper about. But junior developers just out of college, even sometimes business analysts, can learn the platform and understand how to, with governance, make changes to applications and deploy them. Every business team that you talk to, department, always has to wait on IT for something. If they're able to develop quick changes, change the way some context works around an if statement or whatnot, branch something off in a different direction, change the screen labels and whatnot, add a field. There's a lot of things that they can do with governance to make your applications more powerful, since they're closer to the subject. So we give that power, and low code platforms give that power back to other users. It's also built on a modern platform. So Outsystems, for example, we started on ASP.NET. We've moved to a React front end, .NET back end. But essentially, you're designing your code in a visual drag and drop manner on the screen. That code is then compiled to a standard language. And then that standard language allows you to export from the platform, take the source code with you if you need to, if you ever leave the platform. But the standard technology that it exports to, that it compiles to, is going to keep changing in the future. So you don't have to rehire people for that latest framework. You don't have to reskill developers. You don't have to re-platform your applications, because the platform itself, with your drag and drop code, that doesn't change. The compiler will change and be upgraded to the latest technology. And for example, the Outsystems research and development department is always researching the best new languages for web, iOS, and Android native features as well, which gives you a seamless omnichannel experience across all your edge devices, web and mobile applications as well. Offline syncing, we have a ton of different use cases that we've experienced in the industry to support these. So from internal digital operations to large core systems, we've seen a lot of success over the course of different industries and size of applications, web and mobile, that we've been able to affect change in. But like I mentioned, not all low-code platforms are built the same. If you look at the scale of just off-the-shelf apps, standard commodity apps, to unique apps that you might need to build for your business, we like to look at this scale here. So standard commodity apps off the shelf, CRMs, ERPs, things that are maybe expensive, you don't want to change a lot or you can't change a lot, those are definitely going to be at the bottom. And then as we start scaling upward, you see some extensions of low code. Power Apps, ServiceNow, Salesforce has some different form factors for you to develop some changes on. They're limited in scale, but they allow a greater use of users to be able to develop on. We see that in BPM software as well. And we're starting to see more no code for citizen developers too. So highly governed, limited in functionality, but it does bring skills to other developers to be able to affect more change in the organization. And we see that for more departmental type apps. On top of that, there's more low code for citizen and enterprise developers. So Power Apps does delve into this a little bit too. Mendix, WaveMaker, there's some other ones that kind of span this globe, which is the difference between those other providers and traditional code. That's the highest level of uniqueness. That's your most experienced developers. Those are sometimes the hardest to come by and find, and really delve into your community and be good at. But Outsystems or powerful platforms like Outsystems really want to try to span all of those. So we can integrate with all of the CRM systems through standard out of the box integrations and custom needs if you need to. We extend SAP a lot, for example, but also allow you to customize and write raw code if you need to as well. You can write raw JavaScript and .NET libraries and consume DLLs of libraries you might have in other places. So really it runs the gamut. And it enables us to have some pretty cool success stories. For example, the Portuguese airline TAP Portugal, they built a flight dispatch control center that really helps with the ground operations. Background on them, they have 10,000 employees. They're Portugal's leading airline in operation. And they have 2,200 flights weekly on average. They embarked on a mission to really revolutionize their flight dispatch office, and their operations officers monitored hundreds of flight-related events coming in from various different systems. So we worked with them a number of years ago to really revolutionize their flight operations control. And it kind of shows not everybody thinks of a low-code platform being able to provide a solution of this caliber. Outsystems is definitely a good tool for the job, but not all low codes are built the same. There's so many out there that they turn your spreadsheet into an application pretty quickly, and that's really just about it. But if you're looking for something like this, and if you want something inexpensive like that, that could definitely help some of your departmental apps. But you don't have to be afraid of large innovative change as well in a low-code platform such as Outsystems, because that's definitely possible. And their deployment was in 11 months. They streamlined their takeoff procedures. They had a 360-degree view of all flight relevant events, from air traffic control to the pilots to flight plans and whatnot, making really faster and easier decision-making throughout their operations control. So that's kind of a cool use story in Portugal, but Schneider Electric is another one that really built a digital factory for transformation. So they trained 150 Outsystems developers in about 8 months. They started going live on the Outsystems factory, and now they just have an engine that drives their transformation. 60 apps were live in the first 20 months. And so as you build on Outsystems or some of these other nice low-code platforms, you can build reusable classes that connect to different endpoints and data points in your factory. And so you can have other governed apps, whether it's business users or different types of users, build apps very quickly to connect to these endpoints, again, with governance, so that they're careful about it, but they don't have to wait on IT to set this sort of thing up with, integration with Active Directory or Okta or other IDPs you might have. All that is kind of pre-built and templatized for the users to take advantage of. Like I said, Schneider, that was kind of an engine that spurned their growth going forward. Last one I'll note is just Think Money. So we have a lot of banking and financial use cases because they need a modern customer interface for their users, but they also have a lot of legacy backend systems that they might need to connect to. DB2 databases, old legacy platforms of different sorts need to be integrated and maybe extended and then maybe replaced at some point. But some of these financial systems and government systems, you can't always do that with. So we've helped bridge that gap. Think Money had an example where they were trying to build a custom solution over the course of a few years. In that few years while it was being built, their needs changed, the industry changed, and they had to scrap the whole project. They went with Outsystems and they went live in 3.5 months with a core digital banking operation. So that again is kind of a cool use case of how to build on low code very quickly. And we have enterprise grade security built in. So the most complex apps, secure apps, government and banking, financial institutions all can rely on the platform through the various certifications that we have. PCI compliance, SOC 2, following all the OWASP protocols through privacy and data protection. And besides the platform itself, just as you develop, the developers have the security in mind as they're developing. So we actually give warnings to the developers. This is some of the governance that allows those junior developers to be more like senior developers, in that there's errors and bug checking. And an example of that is the screen here shows if you have code that is vulnerable to SQL injection or HTML injection as well. We warn you to sanitize that code in different ways, and we have processes in real time as you develop to warn you of this. So all in all, the application security itself has security framework built in. The code generation is secure, deployment and runtime is secure, and governance as well has different features to make this a more secure setup that you might not understand is in the low-code environment. A lot of people think of these low-code apps are quick, kind of cute apps you can build, but there's a lot of governance and security built in as well. And just to give you a background on Outsystems, how you build applications on the platform. We're full stack in nature. We integrate and extend. We have a full lifecycle deployment process, which gives you a lot of experiences. Diving into that, this is the IDE. So this is Service Studio. We actually develop your drag and drop code, drop widgets on there, hook them up to logic and endpoints, and then save that to internal database or external data accesses that you have as well, whether it's API or connections to other NoSQL or SQL databases you have out there. Another example of a complex app, this is a call center application we built that integrates in real time with Vonage. It has speech to text analysis in real time, so the dispatcher can see over the shoulder even the sentiment analysis, which is Azure Cognitive Services built in as well, so they can see the worried sentiment of the caller and suggest plans in real time. And really, the pixel perfect definition is defined in the apps that you build as well. So they're not all templatized. They can be templatized to make things faster, but you have the ability to create the entire UI and UX of what you'd expect in a typical app. You can also integrate and extend. Excuse me. There's a lot of pre-built components like SAP, Salesforce, Google Maps, and whatnot. We also have a Forge repository of 4,000 plus components built by Outsystems and by our community to help you integrate with different types of platforms and even sample apps to get you started in certain areas. And the full DevOps lifecycle is built in too. So we have our own version control and deployment methods, but those can be integrated with Jenkins or Azure DevOps or other deployment methods you might have as well as monitoring, governance, and feedback, as I mentioned previously, which gives you a wide range of experiences throughout web and mobile, API and middleware, chat and voice, email as well. And the analysts, have charts out there for the Magic Quadrant for low-code application platforms, multi-experience platforms as well. We rank highly in there, but we encourage you to review those if you're considering a platform as well. More importantly, customer reviews. So we trust the customers to give the feedback on what their experience is like, and we've definitely seen low-code change the lives of a lot of developers out there. That makes it not just writing black and white code, to have a more visual design, faster output, and really more recognition internally in their organizations. So that's it. Feel free to contact me. My email address is there. You can try our platform for free at try.outsystems.com. But hopefully it was a little bit, exciting for you to see what the possibilities are with low code out there. Not everyone expects that up front.